Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather.
I don't think I was asking. Hi guys, this is Inoctium, and today we're going to do a trailer breakdown of Grand Theft Auto 5 trailer. That's what we're going to do. So basically we're going to stop at different periods in the video, the 1 minute 25 video, and comment on it and try and sort of elaborate what will be in the game and what kind of information we can get. So let's continue, shall we?
Or I don't know, that thing. That magic.
As you can see here, the game sort of is back to San Andreas, but it won't exactly be San Andreas because San Andreas was a massive play area. I think for this game, the sandbox or the city will be much smaller. Instead of San Andreas, it will be just Vinewood, and that's the sort of significance of the V on the title scene, and it'll just be sort of revolving around Vinewood and sort of elaborate and tell us a little bit more about that city as opposed to, you know, going all over the county of San Andreas. And that's when I get what's going to happen. So as we see here, it's a sort of an uncanny version of Los Angeles. It doesn't exactly look like Los Angeles. It looks a bit like Los Angeles, but it's not. It's got sort of purple sky, palm trees, everything. Everything's a little bit out of place, just like all Grand Theft Auto locations. So let's continue.
You see it in the movies. I wanted to retire from what I was doing, you know? From that.
Now, while I did mention a much smaller play area for Vinewood in comparing to San Andreas, there is lots of emphasis in these few scenes of like parks and a golf course and stuff like that. When in GTA 4 you did sort of extracurricular activities, it was more like a sort of very small areas to move around and a lot of cutscenes or shooting galleries. But I don't know if you, for example, you can go off a road onto the golf course or stray away from the city and go up the mountains of their version of California, which I assume is San Andreas. But that's the thing you can do. You can go into the woods and stuff like that. So the sort of theme of this video is it's sort of meant to be a sort of a picturesque, ironic sailing of California, like those Arnold Schwarzenegger tourist California videos if you live in Britain. But at the same time, you know, this is meant to be a sort of ironic cover of what actually happens. So in the golf course, you're probably doing like a shady deal, or in the forest, you're probably like burying a body if you're up to those shady dealings, of course. But this is just sort of the picturesque, showing us the surroundings. But I still maintain it'll be a much smaller play area, but maybe slightly larger than Liberty City, or even probably a bit maybe a smaller, with emphasis on like internal areas or in areas like this.
Line of work. Be a good guy for once. A family man.
I have to admit I haven't done my most research in this, but when I first watched this trailer, this is what immediately struck out at me. Windmills in a Hollywood analog, you know, a city that's like Hollywood. Wind turbines, I mean, didn't really struck out to me, and then I did a search. Are wind turbines actually in Hollywood? And I found out they're not on the hills. There might be some surrounding Los Angeles, but that's not my point. Really, is that this, with the emphasis on this shot and this scene, this kind of brings home the fact that this Los Angeles or Vinewood next to Hollywood is a little bit more different than Hollywood, with things like wind turbines, for example. And this would be like an interesting place to go in the game. But this is probably interesting on an engine point of view, because I don't think you could do things like this in the GT4 engine. But it looks like you could do things like this with massive windmills and interesting things like that. But also on a story point of view, where this Vinewood is definitely different from today's Hollywood. Let's continue.
So, I bought a big house. Came here.
Now don't worry, I won't be stopping the video every little thing I see. But interestingly there's just, if you look to the left of the picture, it says downtown Little Seoul, which is a little bit more different, from a little bit just confirming, rounding us off, and the sort of differences from Hollywood and things like that. There's no such thing as Little Seoul. There's probably Little China, which actually gives a bit of a setup for what this game, what film this game might be like. But you know, there's a Little Seoul there, so another difference. So I assume you can play lots of StarCraft there. Let's continue.
Put my feet up and thought I'd be a dad like all the other dads.
Yeah, that's just sort of confirming what I believe. I hope I'm right, that this video is sort of done ironically, where the main protagonist is just sort of talking to you, just like he's lost a dream or something like that, like he's been sort of pulled in. I've been pulled into crime again, despite, you know, having his child. what's really likely to happen is a sort of new dimension of gameplay. If you consider all the other protagonists from the GTA games, like GTA 1 and GTA 2, where you're just frankly a psychopath who just stole cars, and GTA 3, where you're just a sort of criminal, like a sort of Tony Montana ripoff, or I can't remember San Andreas, but in GTA 5 you were just Nico Bellic, and just you basically had wanted to make something of yourself. You had a sort of you were a moral character, but you stole cars. In GTA 5, it seems like this story will have a new dimension where you'll have to have a reason of taking up crime, where you'll have a family or a kid at least, and just like the criminals will sort of threaten you to, do stuff in the interest of your own kid and stuff like that, and that'll be used as leverage against you. And that might have a little bit more role playing in the game, or it might be just part of the story, which usually doesn't really interfere with the gameplay. But that's just that fact. It's very likely the criminals are using your kid against you.
My kids would be like the kids on TV. We'd play ball and sit.
Lots of shots of property being built, and a shady looking at the back of a shady man. So I don't think you're playing this Fred Flintstone here. He's more likely the villain, and he looks like to be more likely a property mogul. And that seems probably where most of the villains or the crime might occur in Vinewood, part of a property boom and things like that. So I don't think necessarily Hollywood now is having a property boom. So this kind of led to my suspicions that GTA 5 is quite similar to Chinatown, the film, or like a sort of Los Angeles in the 30s, except it takes place in like 2010 or something, but it's like Los Angeles in the 30s, as we can see in a minute, where it'll show you like people working the fields with a propeller plane and flying across. It's very anachronistic. I hope I say that right. Anachronistic, where there's lots of 30s Los Angeles iconography, like property, working the fields, and wind turbines in hills and things like that, making it more like that. And in the 30s in Los Angeles, there was far more corruption than there is now. So with everything, with all industries, and property was one of them. So it looks like you're going to be involved with that, sort of shady dealings with that, and that'll make the story a little bit more tense, a little bit more interesting. So that's that really.
In the sun, but well, you know how it is.
I should probably say something in Cars, but to be honest, the reason why I don't say a lot in Cars is because the trailer hasn't really given us a lot in Cars. GTA has slowly become something that has gone from hijacking a car in the middle of a post-apocalyptic landscape a la GTA 2 to a sort of dodgy criminal crime story. But I'll say about the Cars. Look at the rear on that one, eh? For those disappointed that the game is now taking place in not only San Andreas, but a very small part of San Andreas, fans of GTA 4 can know that Nico Bellic is back. And he'll give head. Did you see that? It just zoomed past, right across the screen. Yep, that's right. It's the Yellow Ranger's power bike, right there on the right of the beak. Doesn't it look like it? Now you could see lots of police. So obviously the police are always going to be a very big part of Grand Theft Auto. If the cars are not going to be a big part of Grand Theft Auto, the police will be. And from this trailer, if this is the actual engine and not just FMV, I've never heard of an FMV for 10 years, then the police AI has improved, or it's become more resourceful, or it's become more ruthless in pursuing you if you commit crime. Maybe the cops are dodgy. That'd be quite interesting, wouldn't it? That'd be an interesting dynamic. That was a dynamic in GTA 2, but in GTA 4 the police were dicks. They weren't really. It was all about that story really. Anyway, the police might be an interesting new dimension in this game, or at the very least have better AI to give players more of a challenge. Well, that was the teaser trailer for Grand Theft Auto 5, and as I said there's the V, and it's Vinewood, and it's meant to be a sort of. I imagine the story for Grand Theft Auto 5 will be a sort of Chinatown type like thing, because in GTA 3 they just sort of ripped off what's it called again? Scarface, and in GTA 4 they don't know what he did. But this is sort of GTA 5 where they're probably taking a lot from Chinatown, or basically stories like that where there's a lot of corruption involved and the sprawl of Los Angeles, or Los Puertos. Is that what this is called? One of you will have to write below. It's called Los Puertos probably. And that's basically the story. The teaser trailer simply does is simply introduce the protagonist in a sort of a interesting way to get you interested, and we'll learn more in the full trailer. But it sort of also showcased the engine, some of the more artificial intelligence, the life of the world, the sandbox, some things of it, just to get you interested. That's what a teaser does. But from just the times I stopped there, although you may not think so, we got a lot of information about the world and what it might be like, and also heavy on the alternate universe type situations. And while different from Liberty City, where Liberty City was just essentially New York and there wasn't really a difference, Vinewood in here, and comparing to Hollywood, is more closer to the 30s version of Los Angeles than now. So less, less celebrities and more mafias, corruption, and construction and stuff like that. Yeah. So can I wait? You remember the Grand Theft Auto 4 teaser trailer where it had Philip Glass's music, and it was really interesting, and it showcased the new engine, and it was really exciting. And naturally, the game didn't actually live up to this. This just looks kind of phoned in, to be honest. But it may be coming out soon. I don't know. It might be coming out next year. I have to check. But it looks cool. Hopefully, it's got some new features. But this teaser trailer is just not that impressive. It's quite interesting. Looks like it's got a better story, but the teaser trailer itself not that interesting compared to like GTA 4 or something like that. But that was a big game. All right, guys, take care. Don't subscribe because I pretty much make Fallout videos, and that's a game no one's heard of in comparison to GTA 4, GTA 5. But I'm making Skyrim videos and other things like that, but not GTA videos. So don't subscribe, please don't subscribe. All right, take care. Bye bye.